Welcome to Let's Talk About Everything and Nothing. We're Sophia, Michelle, your favorite or soon-to-be favorite ADHD-ridden mass sisters.
Expect deep combos, random tangents, and the occasional existential crisis. Or maybe we'll just talk about snacks.
Either way, we're here, we're talking, and you're stuck with us. So let's get into it. Howdy, everyone. We are back with another episode this week. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we are in different apparel today. Because what? There will always be merch.
Yep. I made us some jerseys with our logo on it, and our faces are on the back, but we're not going to get up to show you.
We're not going to get up. It's very difficult to get up and out of these seats currently, so use your imagination. But yeah, so it's our little logo right here, and then our faces are on the back. Very adorable. Love it. 10/10. Let us know if you want one. But anyways, we are back with another episode, and today we are going to be talking about everything that makes us kind of like who we are as people. So like oversharing, overthinking, the spirals, and all of the goodness that comes with all of that.
Yeah, kind of like the combo of our ADHD, mental health issues that we got, just like us in a jar, and you shake it up, and that's what you get. So do you think you're an overthinker?
103,000%.
You think that's ADD or your anxiety stuff, combo platter?
I think it's a splish splodge of all of my mental illnesses.
Splish splotch.
My ADHD, I think the TISM, I think my anxiety, the depression, I think everything. My mental illness is what causes this.
ADHD is not a mental illness, though.
That's, nor I guess it's TISM. We're just neurospicy.
So when you're overthinking, do you overthink about everything? Or is it just like specific things? Or is it when you're overwhelmed, you overthink? Or are you always overwhelmed?
I think I'm always overwhelmed. But degreeing levels, you know what I mean? The degreeing levels is impacted by like everything. I think overall, in general, just constant overthinking. Maybe not even about specifically what I'm doing, but like I could be overthinking about a completely different thing than what I'm currently doing.
So for me, my overthinking usually happens in complete silence. And I think we talked about it before. Like my mind has to be distracted so I don't overthink. Like I in that going back to like before we talked about like I have to have a TV on to go to sleep because I have to have my brain needs that distraction to turn off. Which you know when you say it out loud sounds illogical.
But it makes complete sense though. I mean that's the same thing as like when I feel super overwhelmed and like I feel like executive dysfunction especially. I even say to myself I need to turn my brain off and I just like doom scroll on TikTok. That just turns my brain off. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like
it's something I need to distract myself so I don't overthink because I can't overthink if it's too quiet. And so like now I'm like in a constant state of having to be stimulated by something else so I'm not overstimulated by the overthinking. I'm not dealing with it healthily because is
that not healthy?
I'm pretty sure it's not because I'm constantly having to be stimulated otherwise because then I start overthinking things. And especially I feel like it may be one of those things like I just notice it more now, but like I feel like it's gotten worse that I have gone off ADHD medicine. So like I definitely did it before, but like I feel like it's a lot worse now.
Oh yeah, I'm 110,000% worse being off my ADHD medicine, knowing what life is with it.
But do you think that we're worse, or you think we're just realizing it?
Maybe we're just realizing it. I don't know, because it feels worse. I feel, but maybe it is just like us knowing what it could be, not going back to what we were.
But also like, I know I mentioned it before, like I would bring you on these long walks to go to Einstein Bagels. Like sometimes we would talk, but like we weren't like talking every second of that little 3-hour trip. I felt like Lord knows how long it took us to walk those few miles. But like now I can't imagine walking that long without having like music or podcasts or something like that. It's like I can't imagine it. Unbearable. Sounds unbearable to me. Like literally unbearable. So like I know that's gotten worse.
Do you think does this ever happen to you like when you are doing something that normally, I'll be honest, TikTok is like the absolute safety net for me. Sometimes music and podcasts or an audible book normally can get me okay, but even when I'm doing those things, sometimes I'm like then I hear myself overthinking while I'm listening to music or listening to a podcast or listening to the book, and then like I start spiraling a little bit, and that's when like I have to stop what I'm doing and like scroll on TikTok until my brain shuts up, and then I can try again with one of the other ones. But like for now and for a long while now, TikTok has like been my safety.
No, I get what you're saying.
My safety net.
It's because TikTok is fast, and even if the video is not fast, you can move on. Yeah. And it's something different, and it's constantly changing, constantly interrupting your thought process. With a book, it's a narrative. It's a linear thing. Mm-hmm. It's something that you have to rely on what you heard to go to the next step, and it can be mundane. Mm-hmm. And so podcasts also.
Yeah.
But I mean, that makes total sense. Like, but that's, in my opinion, my unprofessional opinion, unhealthy. Like, as far as like me needing a distraction, I know I'm real unhealthy with that. Like, that is something that I would like to change, but I haven't. Because it's not something that worries me. It's just something that I don't like. That I need that I need that constant stimulation.
I guess I'm trying to wrap my mind if I truly believe it's unhealthy.
I think it's unhealthy because you're not. Doom scrolling is unhealthy, especially if you're doing it multiple times a day, which I know I'm doing multiple times a day. But it's unhealthy.
Also,
not to interrupt you, but I think it's making it worse. I think it's making this issue that we're both having worse because we are feeding it. We're feeding, for lack of a better analogy, it's like we're feeding that addiction, and we're building up a tolerance. So now
we're addicted to TikTok.
We're addicted to dopamine seeking.
Yeah.
That's
what we lack dopamine. That's the whole thing.
But so before as much technology that we have now, we had to get it in different ways, and it would be more mind stimulating, more brain stimulating, more emotionally stimulating, more productive stimulating. And now it's because you'd go out and do a hobby, right? You would seek that dopamine in a hobby or in, being in love or shopping. Over shopping can be, bad for you, but like you would seek it out doing something, like doing things. And yes, there's a lot of things that could go wrong, like, drug addiction, like, alcohol addiction, shopping addiction, gambling addiction, things could go bad, but like, I feel like the dopamine seeking that we're doing now is very unproductive. It's very brain rotting. And I think it's getting progressively worse I'm going to say for myself. I'm not going to talk for anybody else. For myself. And it's allowing me to like rot. Like, everyone calls it bed rotting and stuff like that. And thinks it's just couch rotting. And, I think that's what's happening. And it's very unproductive. Like, my dopamine seeking isn't a productive dopamine seeking anymore. And is getting progressively worse. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I get what you're saying 110%. Mm-hmm. I don't know. Like, I just don't know what else. Because I doom scrolled even when I was on ADHD medicine. But I don't know. I guess when I'm thinking about it logically, it's probably not good. For as much as I do. Like, I'm not saying that, like, it's not good to do it all. Because I do think sometimes, like, you just, need to turn off.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to gorge on pizza and ice cream. Do you need to do it all day, every day? No.
I mean, yeah, you're right. Like, anything in excessiveness isn't good or healthy.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this kind of more recently, that I don't want to be so dependent on my phone, because I am so dependent on my phone and the stimulation that my phone gives me. Like, I am so dependent on the stimulation from my phone. And I don't enjoy that part of my life right now. And I don't know if it's because I'm not working full time or what have you, but I was also dependent on my phone when I was working full time. Because, anybody in a retail sales job, like, there's slow times, right? And there's literally nothing to do but wait for people to come in and you sell them shit. Everyone just gets on their phone. And so I definitely was dependent on my phone before. And I was dependent on my phone when I got home from work, for that stimulation. So I don't know if it's just because I'm not working full time right now or what have you. I feel like I don't like that. I'm having a really big executive dysfunction with it because I want to do other things. I want to get up and do the thing. Just get up and do the thing. And I'm not getting up and doing the thing because I'm getting that dopamine from my phone at that moment. And that's a lot easier than getting up and doing the thing.
Yeah, I think maybe you're right. I think maybe it is super easy because and you know what? If I'm being honest with myself, it's even getting hard to just watch TV or a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Without getting on my phone.
I need to be doubly stimulated.
Yeah.
Because, like, because we play, me and Soph and her wife play Monopoly Go.
So I'm addicted to this.
And, because, you know, a lot of apps now have, like, picture-in-picture, right? So I'll turn on Netflix. I'm rewatching Grey's Anatomy. I'll turn on Netflix and minimize it to the little square. Open up Monopoly Go. I'm playing Monopoly Go and watching Grey's Anatomy on my phone. And more than likely, there's something on the TV too at the same time. You know, I'm being triply stimulated. And when I deliver for, you know, my little side job, I have my radio going, but I'll have either a podcast or a audiobook going. And so I'm driving, listening to something in my headphones, and then my truck will have music.
That is fucking crazy, Michelle. Like, that's a little much.
And it makes everything go by so much faster. I have a real problem because we watch church online. Because we're on my couch, I want to pull out my phone and be on my phone, but I'm like, this is so disrespectful. If I was at church, I would not do this. And so I try to remind myself to, like, not take it out because I think it's disrespectful. But it's hard. And then watching movies, it's hard to just sit there and watch a movie. Like, and that sounds ridiculous. Like, yeah. It's hard to sit there and watch a movie. How many movies have I watched in my whole entire life where I just sat there and watched the movie? Like, you know, that's what makes me feel like it's gotten worse. And I think, you know, it's the cell phones. It's the cell phones. It's that constant stimulation that we're getting from cell phones.
These damn kids. Go outside once in a while.
But I will I will be like, all right, Bubba, let's go to the park. And we just get up and go. And because I don't want him to be like that. And I try my hardest. And I am not succeeding 100% of the time. I'm going to be blunt. Like, I'm not. I'm trying my hardest for him not to need that constant stimulation from something else besides him. But what's so funny to me is, like, he'll go to the park and kind of just, like, walk around the playground. But we're getting better at the tunnels. Because he was real sketch about tunnels, like walking through the tunnels. He's like, I don't know what's going on over there.
Rightfully so.
but he's getting better at the tunnels. But anyway, I forced us to go outside.
I know you said that you're, like, at this point right now in the stage that you are in your life, that you don't want to do this. Like, you're doing it because it's, like, an easy grab dopamine. And
it's one of those things too, like, you know, I make jokes about getting older and stuff like that, but it's one of those things, like, I've noticed that it's gotten a lot worse in my older age. I want to be more productive, and not so much like productive, but like I just want to, like, do shit, anything. And I used to, like, I won't say run, I used to, like, jog. Like, I don't think I've ever ran, but, like, you know, I used to jog, I used to bike ride, like, you know.
Remember we used to bike ride around when you lived at the Valley Ranch?
I used to bike ride a whole bunch. Like, it wasn't even just with you. I would bike ride a few times a week. I want to do more things. Like, I want to do more things. Because I'll do things. Like, if, like, Britt's like, oh, hey, let's go do this. Or, you know, y'all are like, hey, let's go do this. Yeah, I'll do things. But, like, for me and whatnot, like, I don't force myself to do a lot of things. And I don't enjoy that part about me at this point in my life. But everyone, like, I'm guessing most people overthink.
I can, which is why
you turn it off.
Mm-hmm. Because I can feel it. I can feel myself, and I can normally catch it before I start actually spiraling. Sometimes it's too quick and I spiral. Mm-hmm. But most of the time, it's literally every day, multiple times a day. Which again is why I spend so much time on TikTok. Which, saying this out loud makes it sound like a problem, but it's multiple times a day. So, like, but like I said, I catch it most of the time, which is why I stop what I'm doing and get on TikTok, because being overwhelmed, and even doing my chores, you know, like sometimes when there's too much stuff all over the place, and I can't, and so, like, then I'm like executive dysfunction to the fullest. But then I start panicking because I'm like, I just need to get this done, but I'm just stalling, and now I'm just standing here, and I feel myself spiraling, and so then there it goes. Let me just calm down a second, jump on TikTok, and then I feel like I've composed myself, and now I can continue.
I'll be honest, like I hardly ever spiral because I'm so laid back to like a fault sometimes, and like I'm not saying I don't worry about things because I do worry about things. I just don't like let it. I don't know how to explain this. Growing up, everything was gonna be okay because it had to be. There was no choice, and I feel like I've like brought that to my life now. Like I'm so laid back because everything's gonna be okay because that's just what's gonna happen. And generally, I'm not gonna say my life is great or fantastic or perfect or anything like that, but generally everything is okay. And so like that's just kind of the attitude I have. But I have spiraled many times, and I have spiraled about things that I don't have control over. Yeah, it's not fun. And I will try to shut it off. I will try to shut off my brain. Because I will, and this happened the other day, like I was dreaming about something that was a worry. It wasn't like a heavy duty worry, but it was a worry that I had. But because I was dreaming about it, I was like, oh, this is a bigger worry than I want it to be. And this is like 4 o'clock in the morning. Like I've woken up from this dream. And so I put my nighttime headphones on and turned on Gilmore Girls, and it's like, all right, brain, turn off.
And we're done.
And I was like, okay, I'm going back to sleep. And that's what I did. Like I turned it off. I turned off that worry because I just didn't want to deal with it at 4 o'clock in the morning. We touched on this before. I think our first episode maybe about oversharing. Like we touched on a little bit about oversharing, and I feel like we overshare because we're trying to relate to the people that we're talking to. And I do realize that I do that, especially with people like I worked with. Like, I would just tell them about everything. And that's just what I mean. I mean, not like super intimate stuff, but like, you know, the random ass shit that I did like on my day off. Like, you know.
Yeah.
I just like wanted to relate with them, and that's just how I did that.
Definitely 110%. I'm an oversharer. That is how I try to relate to someone. And because I think it feels, I don't want to say fake because it's not, but like it just feels performative is also not the right word I'm looking for. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. It feels like I'm trying very hard, because I am. I think because I mask a lot.
Explain what masking means in the neurodivergent world.
Oh, okay. So masking with the neurodivergent people is where you are basically putting on a metaphorical mask and you are simulating into
like how everyone else is acting.
Yeah, how everyone else is acting. You kind of like watch like how they say things and how their body language is and eye contact and things like that. And I do that. And I as I've gotten older, I realize that I have done that all my entire life. And a lot of people who are neurodivergent, and not purposefully, but because we are just watching so closely how other people talk and how they say things and what they say, is that sometimes we start talking, like we start using words or phrases and even talk kind of like the people that we are with or been around, or even people we've seen on TV or movies and things like that.
So in tune to how everyone else is acting because you want to make sure that you're acting correctly.
Yeah. And so it feels very like fraudy.
Imposter.
Yes.
I don't know if I mask. I definitely turn off. Like I'll just like tune out, turn off. Because I definitely am paying attention to what everyone's saying. I'm definitely paying attention to everyone's body language. I'm definitely paying attention to everyone's tone and things like that.
That's like childhood trauma.
But I don't think I'm changing myself to fit in. Could I be delusional and be doing all this? Yes, I could be. But I don't think I am. I think whenever I'm uncomfortable in a situation, I just like be quiet. I think you mask, and the only reason I think you mask is because not so much in your little bit older age, you don't do it as much, but like you can make best friends with anybody. Like you would like leave places with like a best friend. I'm like, you just met this person. Like what's happening? Like, and you would do that often. If you would have told me when we were kids that you were shy, I'm like, you're not shy. You weren't shy.
Everyone says, when I tell people that I'm a shy person, no one believes me.
Because
I'm socially awkward.
or you do so well because you are masking. For me, I was shy. Like, I would just be like, nope, not talking, not saying anything. I'm literally just going to stand here. And I think that's because I turned off, for lack of a better way of saying it, versus you masked to get through that situation. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yes, but I am, and a lot of people, whenever I do tell people that I'm socially awkward, they do think that's strange that I think that about myself. It has just occurred to me is that it's because they're not inside of. I say they're not inside of me.
They're not hearing all the anxiety, all the scenarios, all the things that your brain is going through. Yeah, they're just seeing the end result.
Yeah, 100,000%. And I don't know why that never occurred to me until this very moment. But that's why. That's why they think that, because I guess I'm assuming outwardly I'm masking well enough where they're just like, you are a good time, and on the inside I'm like, oh my god. And I think unless you know me very, very well and know and you've seen me unmasked.
I can almost always tell whenever you are anxious.
And you're right too. As I've gotten older, I don't mask. But like if I'm out in the public, in the world, I'm masking to some degree.
Do you have any like spirals that were like just ridiculous? Like not like serious spirals, but like spirals of like what to eat, or like what snack do I like the best, or like, you know, something like ridiculous. One thing that I'm thinking about, I don't even know if spiral is the right word, but like to me it's a spiral because it's not so much like a thought process spiral, it's like a activity spiral. And my ADHD was like ADHDing that one day because I was getting ready for work and I had to take a shower. And so I got undressed and then I was like, oh, I got to wash all these clothes before I leave to go to work. So then I'm undressed, butt-ass naked, carrying laundry to the laundry room. And then I had to take out the trash. And so I was like, okay, I'm not going to take out the trash naked. I'm just going to gather all the trash and put it by the door. Gathering all the trash, and then I was like, oh shit, I gotta put my lunch together so I don't forget, because I was like throwing shit away. So I put my lunch together. Shower's running. The water's running. So now I've done laundry, gathered trash, packed my lunch, water's running, butt ass naked. And to me, that was like a spiral. Like I spiraled in that like 20 minutes of like random ass shit that I was doing. So to me, that was like a spiral.
Okay, well then, if we are calling that a spiral, then yes, I do that.
Do we think that's a spiral? What do we think?
I mean, I would just call that ADHDing. Literally, while I was getting ready for the party, I was putting up dishes, but then like there was like towels, stuff that needed to go into the laundry room. So then I grabbed the stuff that went to the laundry room while the dishwasher is open, the water's going. I'm getting these towels, I'm putting them in the laundry room, and I'm like, oh fuck. I was like, I need to put these batteries back onto the shelf in the laundry room. I was like, but where's the ladder? I need the ladder because I'm short. So then I had to go find the ladder. I come get the ladder. I go on the ladder. I'm putting it, and I'm like, oh, well, since I'm up here anyways, I need to refill up the white vinegar and the OxyClean for the laundry. And then I was like, well, I'm going to fill it up. I might as well just throw some laundry in. And so then next thing you know, Mary's like, why is the water on? And I'm in the cat's room doing the litter. So that's when my ADHD is ADHDing.
Do you feel like it's easier for you to admit that you don't have your shit together now? I feel like, for me, I can acknowledge that I don't have my shit together. And I can acknowledge the reasons why I don't have my shit together. And I can acknowledge my shortcomings and be not okay that I have shortcomings, but acknowledge that I can work on these shortcomings. As before, when I was younger, I feel like I didn't acknowledge, like my shortcomings weren't something that I was like, okay, these are shortcomings, but I can get better at it. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
I understand what you're trying to say. And that makes sense for you. But me being honest and saying like I don't have my shit together, or I'm, limited to this or whatever, that was never my problem. Because I always saw myself as unfinished and I will never have my shit together. Like that was.
So I mean, I get what you're saying. Now that you're older though, can you like acknowledge that it's okay that you have these shortcomings? Or are they still like something that makes you feel like, oh, I'm just horrible at my life?
I'm just a piece of shit.
I would never say that, but yes.
Well, I mean, I've accepted that I have a lot of negative self-talk to myself. And so I do try to, and it doesn't work all the time, but I do try real hard to not let that consume me as much as it used to where like I would only think all these bad things about me. I try to give myself more grace.
I acknowledge that I have shortcomings. I never didn't think like, oh, I don't think I'm perfect. I've never thought I was perfect. My shortcomings didn't bother me. Now, in my mental health era, I acknowledge that I can be a better person. Like, not a better person, but like I can acknowledge that I can be better at my shortcomings. But it's okay that I still have shortcomings because I acknowledge that I have more shortcomings now. Like, I have a lot more shortcomings than I originally thought
about yourself.
Thought about myself. So, in conclusion, touch some grass.
Put your face in the sun.
Hang out with your dogs.
Or your kids.
Go to the playground.
Go to the tunnels.
It's not as scary on the other side.
It is not. That is beautiful. It is not as scary on the other side. But that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us this week. We greatly appreciate it. If you enjoyed, do the things. Like, comment, share. Follow us on our socials. And you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, night, evening, shower, poop. We don't know your life. But thanks so much, guys. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye. And somehow we've reached the end of another episode of Let's Talk About Everything and Nothing.
If you had fun, hit that follow button, leave a review, and follow us on TikTok and Insta. But if you got distracted halfway through, no worries. Same.
We'll be back next time with more thoughts, more distractions, and probably actually no real conclusions. But thanks so much, guys, and see you later.